Hey everyone, it's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of All the Queen's Men, Season 3, Episode 11, The Ultimate Price. And yes, this was another good episode. The synopsis for this episode say the cops are on Madam's heels as she discovers a new twist regarding her father's fate. El Fuego starts to crack under pressure regarding his ex, and Big D becomes a suspect in Madam's eyes. I said, uh-oh, that must mean Tommy and Blue done told her what's going on, unless trouble got to her first, which I probably doubt very seriously. So before we get started, if you're new here and haven't subscribed as of yet, please take a moment and do so now. If you're old here and haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment and do that now. Hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all, and it'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you hit that like button, the thumbs up button, write a comment, whereas you're joining the conversation, and share because sharing is caring. So this episode starts off how the last one ended. Madam is walking in and see her daddy is alive. That's right. Cadillac is alive. And so Blue and Tommy are all staring. Madam is like almost in tears, and her father's telling her, don't do tearing up. He asks those two who they were. He said, these your muscle or whatever he called them. Yeah. And asked their names. Tommy was speechless, couldn't even speak. He said, well, you look like you saw a ghost. He said, I feel that way. But does Tommy really know what the man looks like? You know what I mean? Anyhow, so they do the exchange. He tells the story about the nasty biatch, talking about the nurse who tried to suck his ding dong when she thought he had Alzheimer's. He told how they switched bodies with another person because he felt that he knew that that guy would be coming after him, so the concierge. So he was like, I better do something to get up out of here. So he made a plan. He waiting for his passport to come, and him and the nasty biatch are going to Costa Rica to hide out. And she said, Daddy, I'm so glad you're alive. He said, I'm not alive. I'm dead. And you're having a funeral tomorrow, and you got to make sure everybody knows I'm dead and keep me dead. And then I'm free. I got these 3 suitcases over there. Open up one of those. It got all the money in it and stuff. He was like, I'm taking this, and we out. And she's like, oh, Daddy. Then he get on her case about what she did to her sister. You don't put no knife in your sister. I told you not to hurt your sister. Something like that. She said, you told me not to kill her. You didn't say I couldn't hurt her. Oh, F her up. That's what you said. She said, because Daddy, if I wanted to kill her, I would have moved that knife 2 inches over to hit her heart. And he was like, Lord, you are my daughter. He said, but you need to work things out with your sister. The problem y'all having is y'all so much alike. He said, I need you to get right with your sister, because he said, I know you got these two, but it's nothing like having blood having your back. She said, or stabbing you in the back. He said, like you did to her. She's like, oh, Daddy, you know that. It was all of that going on, and he let him know that he knows he has these contacts all over the place, and that they're coming for her at the club because of what she did to Carla. And there was something else. Oh, and that El Fuego is weak. They're going to come and try to break him down. Also, they're going to come for her hard for what she did to Concierge's brother. And lastly, to have his body cremated, the guy who's in that casket that's supposed to be her dad. So now, before they left, Cadillac told his daughter to be careful out there. And he told Blue and Tommy, he said, if something happened to my daughter, y'all better die with her. And they were like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He said, good, because I don't want to have to send anybody back here to take care of you two. I said, oh, snap. He was not playing. So now they in the car driving back to the club, and Blue's in the back talking about, yo, your daddy is gangster. And Madam's like, from way back. And Tommy's like, I admire him. And Blue's like, so do I. He always one step ahead, just like you. And Madam said, nah, I ain't like him. I ain't nothing like him. I said, that's right, because Madam don't always be one step ahead. She be messing herself up if you ask me. So now she's like, he's going to come at me hard now, talk about concierge, and she got to figure out what he's going to do. And Blue's like, I don't like this waiter. And she said, neither do I, but you know what, he going to probably blow up my house or something or what. And she said, oh, the funeral. it's probably going to be the funeral. So they it's like have everybody on high alert, have the bomb sniffing dogs and all of this stuff they talking about that they need to have ready for the funeral that's supposed to be tomorrow. They asked her what she gonna do about Carla. She said, "Oh, that's some BS. I ain't working with her." And Blue was like, "Yeah, that would be a effing mess. It really would." And so then the phone rang, and it's Detective Davis. She's like, "Are you coming?" She said, "I told you I wasn't coming." She said, "I need money. I need you to come." So she hangs up on her, and then she's talking to Tommy and them. And Tommy, she's like, "How far away is that?" And he said, 25 minutes. He said, "Okay." She said, "Okay, let's go." And they went to meet Detective Davis. So now back at the club, we got the premier eating dancers in their dressing room. And Dime comes back there with attitude, talking about, "I'm not Tommy and I'm not Blue." And she's telling El Fuego he got somebody there. He goes, "Who is it?" She said, "What did I just say?" She got all this attitude, like, because I'm here by myself. I ain't got time for this. I was like, why can't anybody be nice and sweet up in there? It's just too much. So then Faith starts in on Doc and asking him about the thing that happened with Teresa. Doc don't want to talk about it, but Faith keep talking about that Miss Patty thing and how she fell over the balcony. It's really messing with me. Doc is telling him, "Dude, I don't want to talk about it." And Midnight's saying to him, "You didn't care about no Miss Patty, so why are you even mentioning it?" So they get into a little back and forth, and then Big D walks in there, and Faith starts on Big D. And Midnight's like, "You know what? You need to go out there and make some money and stop bothering everybody." He was like, "Nah, I'm good." And he said, "Well, I'm leaving." So Midnight left out. Then Big D says something, which then Amp said something to him, and that was a problem. And he said, "Nigga, go on in the back over there," something like that. But before Big D left to go in the back, then Doc stops him and said, "Dude, just keep doing what you're doing," and gave him a hug and stuff. And Amp looked at him like, "Yeah, you always got to side with him against me." And I was shocked that Doc did that, because Doc always wanted to stay out of stuff, but he went and did that to him. So I don't know. Especially after last week, that whole speech saying that we there for you and all this stuff if you need somebody to talk to, when he was talking to Amp. Now it switches over to El Fuego out there in the back. And who's back there? Sandra, who is his ex. Her mother is out there saying, "We're looking for Sandra. I don't know where she is. It's not like her. I don't know." And he's like, "Ma'am, I don't know where she is. I don't know anything." "I think you do. I think you know. You were the last one with her. It doesn't seem like you're telling the truth." And all of this stuff. He said, "Ma'am, if I knew, I would tell you." Miss Lopez, I think he said, "If I knew, I would tell you." Then Miss Lopez said, "If you did something to her, God will forgive you. I will forgive you." And he's like, "I didn't do anything to her." And I'm sitting there going, this woman lying, because if she thought for 1 minute Fuego really did something, she would be reporting him to the police, which is what she did. He said, "I got to go back in there." And she's like, "Wouldn't you want your mother to know if it was you?" He said, "Ma'am, I have to go back to work." She said, "Well, I'm going to go to the news and I'm going to tell them everything I told the police, that you was the last one with them." He stopped, looked at her, and then went back in the club. Now we got Champ in trouble sitting there, and Champ's phone goes off, letting him know that somebody is at his house trying to break in or something. I have a feeling it might be Ray Sean. I don't know. If it's not Ray Sean, then it's that Miss Tandy doing something. But Trouble is like, "Oh man, we gotta go." He said, "We can't leave yet. We can't." He said, "But I got the money hidden real good so they'll never find it." She was like, "I ain't waiting around. I'm going. I'm putting on my coat. Come on." She said, "I'm gonna sneak out the back door," because they worried about they supposed to be there at work. And they gonna run home for some money that they stole from somebody. So Madam Blue and Tommy get to that dump where Detective Davis asked them to meet. And Madam's like, "Do you live here?" She was like, "No." And so she started telling them that they suspended her. And she said, "Oh, you may need to live here." Oh my God. It was so funny. So she was like, "Tell me what you know." She's like, "I need money and I'm risking my life. I'm risking coming here." And she said, "No, you risked your life when you opened your legs, spread your legs for one of my dances. So that's on you." And she's like, "Whatever." She said, "But I need money now and I need you to just tell me how much you think it's worth to you." She said, "Well, you tell me what you got and I'll let you know." So she told her about the cops are coming to the club looking for her because of Carla. She tells her about I think they going after El Fuego. Um, she tells him that Casanova is undercover. And she's like, "Tell me something I don't know." She said, "Well, he has another dancer in there, and that he's working with him and they're working against the DA, and that he supposedly shot him and pretended to kill him, but he's really not dead. And she's like, really, huh? And Blue and Tommy are sitting there real quiet because they know just who it is. She told him that the guy running for the DA really has it out for her, and they were waiting for it to get close to the election, and they were going to make this big speech about taking down Madam. And she's like, who, Miss Tandy's husband? She said, yeah. She said, okay, all right. And then lastly, she told us she has that video in her email. She don't know how it got there, but they're setting her up and stuff. She said, do you know who did it? She said, because I know El Fuego is good for that stuff. Are you the one setting me up? She said, no, it wasn't El Fuego. You know who did it? She said, yeah, I know. She said, well, who did it? Because I'm a kill him. I swear I'm going to get him and kill him and stuff. And she, Madam chuckled, ha, ha, ha. Like, you have no idea what you up against. And she's like, who did it? And she says, his name is Raphael, whatever. He goes under the name of Concierge. She said, well, give me information on him and let me know. She said, because I'm going to go after him. I'm not playing. She's like, yeah, okay, well, let me know how that turns out. And she said, and I'll get back to you and let you know how much this information is worth to me. She said, you going to let me know? I need money now. She was like, Blue stood in front of her and said, the conversation is over. And they left. I said, wow. So now we have Trouble and Champ getting to his apartment, seeing it tore up from the floor up, and they run to the hole in the wall where he kept the money, and all the money is gone. And of course, Champ is like, who could have gotten it? Trouble is saying that mostly. She's like, you sure some of them random biatches you be having up in here didn't do it? And he's like, nah, nobody know, but he thinks it's Rayshawn who took the money, because he said one day he was putting money in there, something like that, and he think Rayshawn saw him. But she's like, are you sure? He said, nah, I ain't sure. So then the next thing you know, Rayshawn calls them to say bye, that he going back to Alabama. And they keep telling him to come back to the club. And he said, nah, I'm done. They said, come on, you got to act like nothing happened. He said, well, something did happen. And they're like, nah, that guy's not dead. He said, he's not dead. He said, no, so come back to the club. He said, nah, I'm going back to Alabama. He said, but what about your money? He said, y'all can have it. They said, after all you went through to get it? He said, no, I'm good. Y'all can have it. Bye. And he hung up on them. And they tried to call back, and he wouldn't answer. And Champ is like, he got the money. He got the money. Champ is so sure that he got that money. But we don't know. And honestly, I feel it's Miss Tandy who got that money. But Champ and Trouble have the nerve to be talking about they ain't gonna let this go. They gonna find that Igga and get this money. I said, they didn't even earn that money. I said, if anybody deserved to keep it, is Rayshawn, because he's the one that went through the trauma from Miss Tandy. So now we have Madam Blue and Tommy in the car. Now Tommy's driving. And Madam's like, let me get this right. He said the bullets will penetrate and he'll bleed on the inside. You ain't see no blood or nothing. He's like, no, I'm sorry, madam, I did. She said, really? And she said, he wrapped him up real quick. She was rolling her eyes, and Blue in the back laughing, talking about he's a stupid nigga. Or something like that. I was like, he said, what you talk about, Blue? Shut up. You believed it too. She's like, no, I did. He said, yes, you did. Madam was like pissed. She's like, take me to the damn club. He said, I'm going to kill that nigga. She said, no, you're not. I'm going to talk to him, and he going to bring the white boy to me. And I was like, oh, my goodness, this was funny. But Tommy was like, you can't go to the club. They're going to arrest you. She said, so what? I got this. Don't worry about it. So back at the club, everybody's tipping out, and Diamond's telling them they got to wait because Madam wants to talk to them. And they're like, what's this all about? And they said, we'll soon find out. So Madam finally come in, and she let them know that her father died, and the funeral was the next day, and they're all welcome to come. And they were like, giving condolences. They're sorry. She said, I don't want you to make a big deal out of it. They said, we'll be there. We'll all be there. And she's like, I appreciate that. So they all getting up to leave. And Tommy told Big D, nah, you stay. She won't talk to you. And so they all left. And she come over there talking to him. And she said, Tommy told me what you did and stuff. That means you stepping up. You're going to get a promotion. He's like, word, really? All right. She said, I got to get me some of those bullets. He said, yeah, I got you. I got you. He said, I got somebody in New Orleans, a guy who could hook you up. She said, really? She said, okay. So she's like, you know what? I want to continue this conversation in my office. Tommy, take him to my office. So Tommy left and took him to the office. Then in come not Rayshawn, Champ and and Trouble. Late and everything, missed the meeting. And Diamond's like, where you two been? And they're like, we sorry, we apologize, and we had to take care of something. And Madam said, I'll take care of it, Dime. Don't worry about it. She said, oh, but your father. She said, I'll take care of it. So Dime left, and Madam was like, what's going on? And they're like, we sorry, we apologize. His apartment got broken into. We had to go and take care of it. She said, was anything stolen? And they said, no. He shook his head and told, Trouble to say no. She's like, no. And she said, oh, really? So Miss Tandy's money was all there? And they was shocked. They was like, oh, you know about that? She said, you think wasn't going to effing find out? Of course. She said, and why did you tell her that I sent you? And Trouble's like, that was me. She said, I know it was you. What made you think you should tell? I'm sorry. I honestly didn't think she was going to tell you. And I thought, she said, you thought and you thought and you thought. She said, what is wrong with you two? So she said, Blue, and Blue pulled the bag out and dropped it on the table next to them. And they went for it like to unzip it. She said, don't you touch that money. Sit my damn bag back. I said, oh, so that. She said, that's my money now. And she said, y'all going to take every dime of it back to Miss Tandy. And they was like, what? After all that Ray Sean went through, she said she already offered Ray Sean $100,000. So let it go. So she told him, y'all messing up my mother effing plan. I had a plan. And if that man in that hospital dies, y'all gonna have a problem with me. She said, because I need him to get into office because I got so much dirt on him. I will run this mother effing city. And she was going in on them. And it was like, we sorry, madam, we sorry. And she said, now get up and take this stuff back to her. Now, every dime. And they was like, yes, madam. Little suckers. So now they flash to outside and you see who is it? Midnight Doc and Faith standing out there, and Doc's phone rings and it's Detective Davis wanting to see him and stuff. He's thinking it's about sex, but she said it's about information, because he was like, you got my money? She's like, what money? She said, what I'm going to give you, you going to have to pay me. You need to pay me. So he's like, ish, man. So he didn't tell the guys what it was about, but then the cops roll up, looking for Marilyn DeVille. And the guys wasn't trying to let him in. It's that little young rookie cop and everything. And so they're saying they don't see no warrant and he just can't come in there. And they said, oh, so you just going to block us and you think we won't call for backup? He said, you're going to have to and do what you got to do. And he called for backup. But then when he heard those two gunshots, they heard gunshots. And he's like, was that gunshots? They was like, we ain't heard nothing. You heard something? I didn't hear nothing, Meanwhile, they got El Fuego getting home. He opening up his laptop, and his laptop is showing like there's a camera in that downstairs basement where Madam calls her office. And you see Big D and Tommy down there. And Big D's like, I thought we was going to her office, Madam's office. Madam's office is real nice. He said, no, this is Madam's office. So he's like, really? He said, no, I don't think so. So then he offered him a cookie. Want a cookie? Tommy the cookies. And he said, don't mind if I do it. He took one. He said, this is good. So then Blue comes in there, and then Madam comes in there. And Madam is like, so you did a good job in here, with these bullets and everything. She's like, you got that gun? Yeah, I got that gun. Let me see it. She said, so what is it? She said, it looked like regular bullets to me. He said, no, they're different on the inside. She said, oh, okay. She said, so if you shoot somebody with it, they should bleed internally or whatever. He said, yeah. So she took it and shot him in the knee, and he fell to the ground. She said, I see blood. You bleeding. He said, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Then Tommy punched him in the face, and Madam is asking him, is he a cop? And he said, no. She said, so how you know that other cop? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. Tommy would punch him in the face again. And Madam's like, wait till I can give you the cue to do it. And he said, no, I'm not a cop or whatever. And then Blue said, I dare you to lie again. And he finally said, I'm an informant. Then before they could ask any more questions, Midnight came down there to let them know that the cops heard the two shots and that they sent it for backup and they want you, Madam. And she's like, then Madam, they'll get. And she gave the gun over to Tommy or whoever. She went upstairs and Midnight said, what you want me to do? And they said, tie him up. So El Fuego is seeing all of this on his laptop, what everybody is doing. And I'm like, who is it? I feel like it's concierge who's behind this. Y'all put it down in the comment section who y'all think it might be. But that's who I think it is. So Madam finally comes out after they kept telling the police officer Madam wasn't there. She comes out and it said, Marilyn DeVille. She said, yes. And she's like, all of this for me? You got police helicopters and all kind of stuff. And lights is flashing everywhere. He said, yeah, we have a warrant for your arrest for the attempted murder of Carla DeVille. And she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, men. And they come over and they handcuff her. And she ain't even blinking, ain't even thinking about it. And Doc is like, Madam, she said, I'm good. Don't worry about it. So they put Madam in the car and drive off. Tommy and Blue go one way. Doc and Face go back in the club and it goes off. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode down in the comment section. And I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.